Isn't there another way?
Surgery's no good. You'll see the scars.
Before Andrew Niccol created cinema's most prescient genetic dystopia,
a schizophrenic story, because it's a schizophrenic war.
Gattaca was dismissed as too cerebral and commercially unviable by studio executives who couldn't grasp its vision of genetic discrimination.
All this equipment must be returned within 7 days, and you don't get your deposit back.
The cast has finally revealed secrets that will transform your understanding of the prophetic masterpiece that predicted our current bioethical nightmares 25 years before they became reality. The film that predicted CRISPR and genetic selection. What most fans don't realize is that Gattaca was written before the Human Genome Project was completed.
What do you like so much about Gattaca?
Rarely do films use the device of metaphor.
Yet it accurately predicted how genetic testing would create new forms of discrimination and social hierarchy. Andrew Niccol's vision of a world divided by DNA rather than race or class seemed like far-fetched science fiction in 1997, but advances in genetic engineering have made the film's dystopia disturbingly plausible. Ethan Hawke revealed years later that studios couldn't understand why audiences would care about genetic discrimination. They kept asking where the action sequences were, where the explosions were. Andrew was making a film about identity and human worth in a genetically optimized society, and executives wanted a thriller with car chases. The disconnect showed how radical the premise was for mainstream Hollywood. The project survived only because the modest budget made it a manageable risk. Jude Law noted how the production's near-future setting worried executives. The film wasn't set in distant future with flying cars and aliens. It was close enough to contemporary reality that it felt like a warning rather than fantasy. That proximity made the genetic discrimination themes more disturbing because audiences could imagine this world actually emerging within their lifetimes. The retro future that rejected digital aesthetics. The film's distinctive visual style wasn't typical science fiction design. It was deliberately analog and architectural approach that suggested genetic perfection requiring aesthetic purity. What the production designers revealed about creating this world shows how Niccol rejected dystopian grunge to depict genetic discrimination through beautiful, sterile environments that felt oppressive despite their elegance. The decision to use mid-century modern architecture and 1960s design aesthetics created timeless quality that made the exact period ambiguous. "We wanted the future to look like it could exist now or 50 years from now," disclosed production designer Jan Rolfs. The retro-futurism suggested that genetic engineering would appeal to societies that valued classical beauty and order over chaos and diversity. The clean lines and minimalist spaces reflected the genetic ideology of elimination rather than celebration of variation. Ethan Hawke revealed that the lack of obvious technology was deliberate choice to focus on human drama. Andrew didn't want computers and screens everywhere because the film was about biology, not technology. The retro aesthetic kept attention on bodies and genetics rather than machines. The film's vision of the future was about human engineering rather than technological advancement. Ethan Hawke's physical transformation into genetic inferiority. Vincent Freeman wasn't just another underdog hero. He was Ethan Hawke's complete embodiment of someone whose body was considered defective by society. What Hawke revealed about his preparation shows how he used physical performance to explore what it means to be genetically discriminated against, while maintaining the determination that makes Vincent heroic. Hawke disclosed his approach to portraying genetic inferiority. "I had to show Vincent's physical limitations without making him pathetic. He has a weak heart, poor vision, and limited life expectancy, but his spirit and determination transcend his biology. I studied how people with chronic health conditions navigate a world that sees them as less valuable, and I wanted to honor that reality without turning Vincent into inspirational stereotype." This balance made the character authentic rather than sentimental. The daily ritual of scrubbing away genetic evidence became central to Hawke's performance. Vincent's morning routine, where he removes every skin cell and hair, was showing how exhausting it is to constantly prove your worth in a society that judges you by genetics. That repetitive deception took psychological toll that I tried to show through subtle exhaustion and vigilance. The physical performance conveyed emotional costs of living as imposter. Jude Law noted how Hawke's performance made genetic discrimination visceral. Ethan showed what it feels like to be considered invalid, not good enough, not fully human. Vincent's struggle wasn't just about going to space. It was about being seen as worthy of basic respect, despite his DNA. That made the discrimination real rather than abstract. Jude Law's Jerome, the tragedy of perfect genetics. Jerome Eugene Morrow wasn't just helping Vincent, he was Jude Law's portrayal of someone destroyed by the expectation of genetic perfection. What Law revealed about developing this character shows how the film explored both sides of genetic discrimination by depicting how expectations of superiority can be as destructive as assumptions of inferiority. Law disclosed his interpretation of Jerome's depression. Jerome had perfect genetics, but couldn't handle the pressure of everyone expecting perfection from him constantly. When he became paralyzed and could no longer fulfill his genetic potential, he felt his life was worthless. The film was showing how genetic determinism destroys people on both ends of the spectrum, those deemed inferior and those expected to be superior. This tragedy made the film's critique more nuanced. Ethan Hawke noted how the relationship between Vincent and Jerome became the film's emotional center. Vincent had the determination but not the genetics, while Jerome had the genetics but not the determination. Together, they created one complete person, which was the film's statement about how human value comes from character and spirit rather than biology. Their friendship was built on mutual recognition that society's genetic hierarchy was fundamentally wrong. The murder mystery that disguised bioethical philosophy. The film's murder investigation wasn't just thriller plot. It was narrative device that allowed exploration of genetic surveillance and discrimination. What Andrew Niccol revealed about the structure shows how the murder mystery made philosophical themes accessible while demonstrating how genetic databases enable new forms of invasive social control. The decision to frame the story as detective thriller was calculated to give audiences entry point into complex bioethical questions. I needed something that would create suspense and forward momentum while exploring ideas about genetic privacy and discrimination, disclosed Niccol. The murder investigation forced Vincent to evade genetic detection, which demonstrated how DNA databases can be used for surveillance and control of populations considered genetically inferior. Alan Arkin's detective character represented audience surrogate discovering the truth about genetic discrimination. The detective gradually realizes that the genetic hierarchy is unjust, and that Vincent deserves his chance despite his DNA, revealed the screenwriter. That journey mirrors what we hoped audiences would experience, moving from accepting genetic determinism to questioning whether biology should determine human worth and opportunity. Gore Vidal's cameo as mission director added gravitas to the film's philosophical themes. Having Gore Vidal, one of America's great intellectuals, appear in the film signaled that this was serious exploration of ideas rather than just entertainment, noted the cast. His presence elevated the material and suggested the genetic questions we were exploring had real cultural and political significance. The staircase that symbolized genetic hierarchy. The iconic spiral staircase wasn't just architectural detail, it was the film's central visual metaphor for genetic stratification. What the production designers revealed about this element shows how physical space represented social hierarchy and how Vincent's struggle to climb became literal demonstration of overcoming biological limitations. The decision to make the Gattaca building vertical rather than horizontal emphasized the climb required to reach space and social status. The staircase represented the genetic ladder that society climbed, disclosed production designer Jan Rolfs. Valid individuals took the stairs effortlessly because their genetics made physical exertion easy, while Vincent struggled because his heart condition made every climb potentially fatal. The architecture made genetic advantage visible through everyday movement. Ethan Hawke revealed that climbing the stairs was genuinely difficult during filming. Andrew wanted real physical strain visible in my performance. Each climb was showing Vincent literally risking his life for his dream. The staircase scenes weren't just metaphorical. They were concrete demonstration that pursuing your goals when society says you're not good enough requires extraordinary sacrifice and determination. The final staircase scene where Anton realizes he can't beat Vincent became the film's climactic statement about genetic determinism. The genetically superior brother loses to the invalid because determination and spirit matter more than DNA, noted Andrew Niccol. That moment was the entire film's argument in visual form. Genetics don't determine destiny if you're willing to refuse society's limitations. The swimming scene that reversed everything. The ocean swimming competition between Vincent and his brother Anton wasn't just character development. It was the film's clearest statement about genetic determinism's falseness. What the cast revealed about this sequence shows how one scene crystallized the entire film's philosophy about human potential exceeding genetic programming. The childhood flashback where genetically inferior Vincent saves his superior brother from drowning established that genetics couldn't predict character or courage. That moment showed Vincent had something his perfect brother lacked, the willingness to risk everything rather than accept defeat, disclosed Ethan Hawke. Genetics gave Anton advantages, but Vincent had the determination that actually mattered in life-or-death situations. Lauren Dean, who played Anton, noted how the scene revealed both brothers' tragedies. Anton relied on his genetics so completely that he couldn't understand how Vincent kept beating him. The genetic ideology had given Anton advantages, but also made him psychologically dependent on biological determinism. Vincent's success destroyed Anton's entire worldview about merit and worth. The borrowed ladder that never escaped. The term borrowed ladder for people using false genetic identities wasn't just slang. It was the film's recognition that genetic fraud couldn't achieve real equality. What Andrew Niccol revealed about this terminology shows how the film understood that individual deception couldn't solve systemic discrimination and that Vincent's success was exception rather than solution. The film deliberately avoided suggesting that Vincent's individual triumph solved the genetic discrimination problem. Vincent gets to space, but the system that creates invalids remains unchanged, disclosed Niccol. His victory is personal rather than political. The borrowed ladder terminology reminds us that genetic fraud is survival strategy, not liberation. True equality would mean eliminating genetic discrimination entirely rather than forcing people to deceive everyone about their DNA. Ethan Hawke noted that Vincent's success came at tremendous cost. He lives in constant fear of discovery, can't have genuine relationships, and risks everything daily. The film wasn't celebrating borrowed ladders as solution. It was showing the psychological burden of living as imposter in a society that would destroy you if it knew your real genetics. The price of Vincent's achievement demonstrated the system's cruelty. The cast revealed that the film's ambiguous ending left Vincent's ultimate fate uncertain. We never know if Vincent survives the space mission with his weak heart, noted the production team. That ambiguity suggested that even achieving your dream couldn't overcome biological limitations entirely. Vincent proved genetics don't determine worth, but he couldn't prove biology doesn't matter at all. Watch the film again with appreciation for its prophetic vision, its elegant exploration of bioethics, and its enduring message about human worth transcending genetic programming. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into science fiction's most prescient warnings that predicted our current technological and ethical challenges. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads.